Well, he has been one of the leading voices since October 7th last year, bravely speaking out against Hamas and the ideology behind it. Mosab Hassan Yousef is a Palestinian and the son of the founder of Hamas in the West Bank. He has a remarkable story of how he came to assist Israel as an informant, and he's dedicated his life to fighting the very terrorist ideology he was raised with. Thank you for joining us today, Mousab. Now, we've heard harsh criticism of Israel for the alleged number of civilian and specifically child casualties in Gaza. You grew up with this ideology of Hamas. Can you share a little bit about what Gaza children are taught and furthermore how they're recruited and exploited by the terror group?
First of all, it's a culture that is actually not concerned of the children. The abuse process begins at a very early age by indoctrination, brainwashing, forcing the children to think as rebels and to adapt to violence. And this is just one form of the child abuse in the Middle Eastern Muslim culture. What Hamas is doing is a crime against the children. It does not end by indoctrination. Hamas recruited children for terror activities. And not to forget that some children actually were forced to wear a suicide belt, explosive belt, and they used them as suicide bombers at some point. Hamas won't hesitate to use children as human shields. This is what we are witnessing in Gaza now. Sacrificing children as part of religious ideology. And this is not a new thing. If we look back during the Iraqi-Iranian war, the Ayatollah used thousands of children to sweep minefields, kamikaze style. So these people are willing to sacrifice not only one generation, but many generations for political gain. It's not secret. But I think many don't understand or can actually conceive the evil practice of sacrificing children.
Now, throughout this war, we have seen Hamas use psychological warfare to manipulate the West and even the Israeli public. How can Israel fight back effectively against this without stooping to that level?
You know, Hamas dragged Israel into a very dirty war. This is their strategy. It is not that Hamas didn't know what would happen after committing a genocide on October 7th and kidnapping many hostages. They knew that Israel would retaliate. In the meantime, they booby-trapped schools, hospitals, streets, and they have been digging tunnels for many years beneath one of the most populated areas on earth. So Hamas wanted many civilians to die. They wanted the children to die. And this was their strategy to bring the West to its knees. All those who believe in civilization, this has been a challenge to all the values of the West. And Hamas knew that they would bring the globe to a crisis where Israel would look like the bad guys.
Now, jumping to the United States, Mousab, we've seen the influence of Islamist terror groups as well as their sponsors, Qatar, the Islamic Republic of Iran, very active on campus, acting almost with impunity. Is the United States actually endangered by Hamas as well? And do you think that Americans understand what's at stake here?
Unfortunately, they don't understand. They're trying to please everybody. They consider Islamists, communists, just as two colors of the society. So they are trying to satisfy their political ambition. not seeing the long term. Their concern is the short-term political interest. And of course, when we take in consideration the Arab oil money and how much money Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and other Gulf countries have been pouring finances into the American economy, now they will have they have no choice but to please the sponsors and to fool everybody and fool themselves. And that includes the Biden administration, by the way, that Muslims are allies, but they are not, because Islam in principle contradicts with the American Constitution, with the values of the West. And it's more of an invasion that the West is in denial of. But we see what's happening in Europe. We saw what happened in Lebanon. And in my opinion, Lebanon is a very clear picture of what the Muslims, whether they are Shi'is or Sunnis, when they came to a Christian country, within no time, few decades, they turn it into rubble. They turn it into chaos. They turned the country, they divided the country, which led to one of the worst civil wars of all time. And today, when we look at Lebanon, where is Lebanon? So this is an invasion. And I'm afraid that this is the future of Europe.
All right, Mosab Hassan Yousef, unfortunately, we are out of time, but I want to thank you so much for joining us and shedding some light on these issues.
Thank you. Appreciate it.